What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. I'm Drew Dinkmeyer here with Mike Gallagher to walk you through tonight's three-game set of Game 2s. All the home teams took care of business in the opening games over the weekend, so we'll see if some of the road teams can even things up tonight. Mike, how are you feeling about an injury report that is still laden with plenty of injuries to talk about on this three-game slate?
Yeah, some injuries that are not listed either that we'll talk through as well. And then we've got the new one, Tyrese Maxey midday downgrade for illness. That's not good. So we could definitely that's probably the biggest Q tag on the slate that again was not on our radar 4 or 5 hours ago.
Yep. All right, let's get into the game-by-game stuff. Let's start with Orlando and Cleveland. There's not much to discuss here, and we'll save much of the premium rotation adjustment content for behind the paywall tonight on our premium show, as that is much of what the playoff analysis is revolving around. But from an injury standpoint, nothing on the Orlando side, and so on the Cleveland side, they're just without Dean Wade and Craig Porter Jr. We saw Sam Merrill sneak in as a ninth man. We saw Jonathan Isaac start and play relatively heavy minutes in that opener. What are your thoughts here on what we'll see from Cleveland and Orlando tonight?
So I want to talk through some injuries that are not listed. One of them is Darius Garland has back tightness. According to JB Bickerstaff, we saw him get bumped by Suggs, tightened up on him a little bit. They talked about pulling him out, but Garland said he wanted to play. And, I thought he played pretty well. It was a little bit sloppy. He had the tough matchup. They did put Jalen Suggs on him, and they let Gary Harris guard Donovan, and they switched matchups a ton. If you're watching the game, you saw the record scratch freeze frame moments of when, they switched Cole Anthony onto Evan Mobley a bunch. But keep an eye on Darius Garland's back. He's good to go. Expecting no minutes restriction. And then did want to mention Donovan Mitchell. Just looked great. We saw that crazy in and out dribble spin move dish to Jared Allen, one of the coolest highlights of the weekend. He looks great. Evan Mobley also fully healthy here. They're gearing up. We mentioned that they had the week off, and it clearly helped them. They look like the Cleveland defense that looks ready to go. And then, the Magic, nothing really to note. We saw Franz's minutes come up. We saw he was kind of shallow for minute ceiling. And then the matchup starting lineup flip with Jonathan Isaac playing pretty well in the first unit. They've shown some minute ceilings on occasion, so he maybe has 30 in him here to affect Wendell Carter Jr. And then they did run 10 again. We were curious to see if they would trim out Markelle Fultz or Mo Wagner, but they're going to run 10. We'll see if they stick with that because I mentioned the Cole Anthony minutes. They went pretty bad.
Yeah, and everything went bad from a shooting perspective for Orlando. 8 for 37 from three in that game. If they can make some threes, we'll see if it's a different outcome tonight. Let's move to Philadelphia and New York. On the Philadelphia side, this is, as you noted before, the injury report that we'll spend the most time on today. Joel Embiid listed questionable with the left knee injury recovery. Tyrese Maxey listed questionable with illness. Anthony Melton and Robert Covington still listed out here. What's your read on both Embiid and Maxey tonight for Philadelphia?
Yeah, Maxey wasn't at shoot around. Pretty standard. Whenever you're sick, you usually don't go to shoot around, so that's not unusual. But I don't know. This sucks. If he's out, that's a massive. If he's out, I mean, I don't know how much the line should move, but it should move a lot. He was hands down Philly's best player. You could make a case that he was both teams' best player. Mitch Robinson may have a debate there, but so that's a tough one to read. If he didn't play, they've been liking this campaign thing, but I don't know if they go that route. They might just we saw Kyle Lowry kind of pick up the point guard 2 minutes in the first half, and they mixed in campaign in the second half. I think they might just. Batum's been pretty impactful for them overall. It wasn't so much in the last game, but that was more of a product of the Knicks bench. But it is an aside. So what I'm getting at is I kind of think they might just start Batum and just have Kyle Lowry run the show, give Tobias a little bit more handling. So it's quite clear campaign's not a reliable rotation piece. And then Embiid, the pass to himself off the backboard, dunks it, his first dunk in forever, and then goes to the locker room, comes back and did not look like himself. No rim pressure. His defense was not nearly as impactful. The rebounding was a big problem as well. Fourth quarter rebounding rate for the Knicks was 69%, including one lineup with OG, Bojan, Deuce, Brunson, and Mitch Robb having 100% offensive rebounding rate. So that was kind of wild. So Embiid is going to play, I think, but we'll see how well. They had ESPN zoomed in on his bloody knee. I wonder if Gary was having Kurt Schilling, bloody sock as a Yankee fan flashbacks. But yeah, so keep an eye on Maxey. Again, don't have a read, but it's looking kind of bleak. I think he's going to have to probably suit up and go because it's that big of a game. And then Embiid, we'll see how he looks. He did look great in the first half, though.
Yeah, we've already got Philadelphia beat reporters writing articles about whether Philadelphia should be sort of focusing their attention on next season with the health issues with Joel Embiid and with Tyrese Maxey, which is not a great start to the playoffs for the 76ers here. So we'll see. I agree with your sentiment that Batum moves in the starting lineup if Maxey is somehow unable to go. They also, one thing that I'll note just from a matchup perspective in this one, they seem to really like to give Jalen Brunson a look of length. Kelly Oubre was the primary defender most of the game, and then Nicholas Batum was the primary defender most of the game. So they were not going to the Lowry matchup or the Maxey matchup, the smaller guards, as much. And that was kind of the approach, was they didn't play Joel in quite as deep of a drop as they sort of hinted at. He was playing a little bit more at the level and then into drop. And they decided to contest that from behind with length, basically, like let Jalen Brunson put you in jail, but then we have length to contest from behind. And so I thought that was an interesting dynamic. It led to a really inefficient performance from Jalen Brunson. But another note that basically I think they like Batum and Oubre out there from a defensive perspective, specifically with Jalen Brunson to try to contest with length.
Yeah, and then to tie in this with the Knicks stuff, yeah, they put two on the ball a lot. Jalen Brunson couldn't make that was a big problem for the Knicks. And the other half-court offense was a disaster. They missed like floater range all day. They were terrible in that range, but again, the rebounding was just huge to put them over the top. But yeah, they're pretty much good to go. The health story here for the Knicks was Mitch Robb, 30 minutes. We saw him play 25 in that game. Isaiah Hartenstein rested earlier this month, and he still has quote-unquote guidelines to his minutes. Pretty soft guidelines for him to go out there and have just a massive, massive impact. So pretty excited what Mitch Robb brought to the table.
Yep, and that'll be the big question mark going forward. Is they said you had alluded to this going into the series that they had set minutes limitations for both Isaiah Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson, that they were going to try to follow and whatnot. This is a surprising amount of minutes if there were any sort of minutes limitations on Mitchell Robinson. So we know that Tom Thibodeau at times has been the type of coach who's tested the boundaries of minutes limitations. So we'll see if there's any sort of natural pullback. Hopefully Mitch's body kind of holds up, because it's a tough 30 minutes that you're asking to go out there and defend Joel Embiid for that time as well. The only note on the injury report for the Knicks is Julius Randle's out. Nobody else is listed, so very clean there. Okay, let's move to the Lakers and Denver. On the Lakers side, they've got probable tags on LeBron James and Anthony Davis, still out tags on Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and Cam Reddish, though there was some reporting around both Jared Vanderbilt and Christian Wood in terms of potential return dates. What are your notes on the Lakers from an injury perspective?
They're good to go. Look at these minutes: 45 from AD, 41 from LeBron, 41 for D'Lo, 36 for Reeves. Game one to go that level is... And they had a great start to the game. Aaron Gordon picks up 2 fouls. It's going well. They had a nice first quarter. They were like, okay, we need to get this. That's how I read it. Okay, let's get this game. We got to get 1 out of 2 in Denver. We got it. We got to lead. Let's go. And then the third quarter happens. It falls apart. They still go for it. Putting that many miles on this early when they only have 1 day off in altitude is a problem. So rotation notes: Jackson Hayes completely cut out in the second half, which is puzzling. You usually would want some size against Denver, given the way they rebound, and they rebounded great. Denver had a fantastic rebounding game again. So I was listening to the Lakers pod while I was hiking, and they were like, maybe they overlap Jackson Hayes and even AD a little bit, just because. And that's a great pod. Shout out to Mike Trudell and those guys, Lakers Film Room pod. They talked about how Rui playing so much drop because they're running so much Joker pick and roll. Like, that's not really Rui's game. He's not usually playing that role. It's very much AD. So that role change defensively was a problem. And maybe adding more size in the form of Jackson Hayes could alleviate some of that. And then, maybe you do put AD on Joker just a little bit and just kind of deal with it. So I thought that was interesting by those guys. But yeah, I think Jackson Hayes has to come back in the mix. And then, D'Lo was terrible, but got pretty good looks. A lot of good catch and shoot stuff that just didn't go down. Was a little bit more too heavy. He was taking a lot of 2-point shots early and then kind of shot some threes late as well. So, but yeah, minutes held up pretty good overall. So, but yeah, expecting mostly the same. And I'm expecting Jackson Hayes to stick in the rotation despite falling out in the second half.
Yeah, a lot of the challenges that the Lakers have is sort of any decision they have to get off of this main starting lineup involves downgrading offense kind of dramatically in the name of trying to improve defense slightly. And I just don't think that's the way to try to win this series against Denver. I think you have to try to outscore them. I don't think you're going to be able to shut down the Jokic Murray stuff. So any of the solutions out there that are talking about less D'Lo, more Jackson Hayes, like the spacing with the Jackson Hayes 80 overlap offense would be disastrous. So I'm really skeptical of any of that stuff. I think the Lakers are going to have to continue to play really tight and just hope the secondary guys make their shots. Like that's the out here. It's drawing thin, but that's the out. Denver side of the injury report, nothing listed. Vlatko Konchar just listed out. He had knee surgery at the beginning of the year. So everybody available for them. We saw Jamal Murray actually co-lead the team in minutes with Nikola Jokic, which was the big kind of question mark coming in to the series. So what are your notes on Jamal Murray and the Nuggets?
Yeah, that's it. Michael Malone said he played him a little too much, but hey, he was great. 18 potential assists. Obviously, the pick and roll game is going to be really strong. A lot of touch time. Blah 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 blah. Didn't shoot it all that great overall, but he's just handled this matchup. Denver, man, they just own this team, man. 9 straight wins against them. But yeah, Denver starters are good. #analysis. And then we did see a little bit of DeAndre Jordan. That was a little bit of a product of some foul trouble. I mentioned the Aaron Gordon stuff, so it kind of like led that way. Michael Malone said after the game they weren't really planning on playing DeAndre Jordan, but gave him pretty good minutes overall. So yeah, just a classic Denver. Grind it on down, get your big run, and put the game away game from Denver.
Yeah, and the DeAndre Jordan minutes in some ways were at the expense of Aaron Gordon, right? Only 32 minutes. You see he's the one starter that's down a little bit, but only 2 fouls. So it was like a very unusual substitution pattern for
just 2 quick ones, and then that was it.
It's just funny that it ends up working out that way. So we'll see. It is a big defensive responsibility for Aaron Gordon dealing with LeBron James. So
he was great though. I mean, just shout him out. He was freaking awesome, both from an offensive standpoint with the ball movement and the secondary actions with the way the Lakers were trying to rotate out of stuff. I thought Gordon played and obviously LeBron defense was really good. So like a low key great game from him.
Yeah, the 2 teams in the league right now where their starting fives are just so fun to watch because all their players kind of fit seamlessly within one another are Boston and Denver, and we'll see if we're heading towards that finals. But this 5-man unit from Denver, is very, very tough. It's the one that largely got the game back in control in the third quarter. And it's going to be the one that somebody's going to have to take down unless injury comes, which we hope it does not. But that's this 5-man unit. Somebody's going to have to be able to take it down over a 7-game series, and looks like a very, very tall task. Okay, that will do it for this edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. As always, if you're interested in supporting our content, the best way to do so is to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are about 110-ish or so subscribers short of our goal of getting to 500 by the end of the NBA season. Would love your support in doing so. So please subscribe to the channel, tell your friends about it as well, and help us get to that goal. If you're interested in any of our premium content, you can find myself and Mike Gallagher behind the paywall tonight at 5 o'clock Eastern time, talking about this 3-game slate, breaking down the good chalk, the bad chalk, the contrarian plays, and of course those rotation adjustments that are so important early in series on where we could find kind of hidden gems. Mike was able to highlight over the weekend both Mitchell Robinson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker as kind of key role players that might be able to have bigger roles in the series. So, we'll continue to try to find and highlight those low-owned pieces that don't project super well because we can't project it yet, but we think there could be a rotation change coming. So make sure to tune into the show for all the qualitative analysis that goes with all of our projections, top plays, content that we do during the course of the day. establishedrun.com/subscribe-MBA if you have more interest in checking out the product offerings and the product details on all of our premium product offerings. Okay, if you enjoy keeping this free content free, the best way to do so is to smash that like button and feed that algorithm. You feed the algorithm, it helps feed our families and allows us to feed you the NBA injury information analysis you need each and every day to set your lineups and make your spread bets and your prop bets. So smash that like button, feed that algorithm. Nom, 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 nom. We'll be back again tomorrow with another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. Take care, everybody.